Hello, Cavs. Contribution for today was just amazing. It's another win after an incredible split. How do you feel?
We feel pretty good. This was definitely the match we were looking forward for, like basically the whole split. Obviously, it decides like first place who was first, and also it's also after like a loss yesterday, and we lost to Fnatic last time, so it's like it couldn't be more important. Probably the most important, like best of one we played this year. Um, so it feels good to win it, and yeah, I'm just ready to celebrate and prepare for playoffs.
So now it's like a revenge over Fnatic for this. It's 1-1 now, and you're both looking for playoffs, of course. Can we say that there is a huge competition between your two teams?
I think so. I mean, I think I was looking for Fnatic to make it to like the final last split, but unfortunately, like they end up just short. Like they were 3-1, I think. But I'm definitely hoping to match up against them in playoffs. Hopefully in Athens in the final. Like a 5 game series would be like the most hype, right? So as long as we won it. But I definitely think that there's like a big rivalry going on between G2 and Fnatic, and especially now that we're both like really competitive.
And do you feel like it's personal as an old former Fnatic player? Do you feel something personal in this kind of plays?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I think subconsciously, I guess, I always feel like a bit more nervous when I play against Fnatic. Even if you compare Fnatic to the likes of like G2 and IG we played in the past, I probably feel, SKT, I mean, and IG. I still feel like more nervous about the Fnatic match just because it's like my old team and I played with them so long and I know them very well. So it's always like a lot of fun to play against them, and I hope we we beat them, which we did this time.
And can you say that there is a big change, big improvement of you since you left Fnatic?
I think so. I think every year I've learned a lot, and I mean I'm looking to keep learning. So I definitely think since MSI and at Worlds I learned like so much that I feel like I'm a much more complete player now. But I still have a lot to learn.
And would you say that you have much more chances, to win the Worlds this year with G2 than you had with Fnatic last year?
I mean I think so. Going into Worlds last year, we thought we could compete, but we had also like didn't do too well the other international tournaments. So I don't feel like we thought the chance was too high. But this year around, we just came out of MSI winning, and while we still think that Worlds will be really tough, I think we actually see a very legitimate way of winning. So I would definitely say that it's like a lot higher.
Okay, and still as a former fan, I think, what do you think of Nemesis, who is now the rookie of the team, as you were like 1 year ago?
I think Nemesis played well. I think he improved a lot as well, and I think while they were kind of struggling at like placing him inside the team at first, they kind of turned it around towards summer and like late spring, and now it feels like they're playing much better together with him, and also just the other players are performing a lot better than they were doing in early spring. So I think he's playing well, and I mean we have so many rookies now, and I'm pretty interested to see how they will all improve.
And a few weeks ago, they placed Nemesis as an AD carry, taking someone from the LVP UK to play in the mid lane. Do you think this can come back? They can make a lot of changes. For example, Misfits change their complete roster. Do you think swapping players from the local teams to the LEC team can become an habit?
I think more teams will probably do it just because it had like a lot of success from Misfits, and even XL Rogue have a lot of success with it. So I think a lot of teams will do it. I mean, I think for Fnatic they probably won't do it, and I think the same for us, right? Because we are teams that are winning a lot. So I think that I would not see any reason for anyone to be swapped around. Um, but even you look in other regions, for example, SKT just come off winning LCK and like doing really well at MSI, and they just swapped out Mata with effort, right? So I think taking in academy players from your academy team into your main team is something we will see a lot more of, but probably like a lot more on teams who are performing worse than good.
So you're telling me this, but so you consider that Fnatic played bad when they chose to move this roster?
I mean, and the game itself was like really bad, right? I mean, but that was not necessarily because of like because of the swap. It was more like Bebo Broxer were kind of doing some weird stuff with Rengar and stuff. But I think just judging the team itself right now, Fnatic are second place. Or, I mean, I guess they're shared with Splice, but still they're like second place, and they're looking really strong. I think changing players is not really that viable because suddenly you have a completely new player who hasn't played with the team before, and you will need time to adapt. And I mean, there is a world where he just fits in really well without playing with them for a while, but that's like so unlikely that I think they'll just stick with the same roster.
Okay, now I have a big question about something your team said in the introduction video about the today's game. You said that Broxa and Nemesis were the easiest targets on Fnatic teams. I can understand about Nemesis because he's still a rookie and everything, but Broxa is a five-time MVP in the LEC, so why considering him as an easy target?
I'm not sure what you mean.
The LEC made a video. Yeah, the match of the week, and someone of your teammates said that Broxa was an easy target. Do you consider him as an easy target?
I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly. I think if anything, I would probably look at Weibo as like a more exposed player just because he plays like really aggressive, so it's like easy to catch him off guard. I'm not sure, I'm not really sure what the context is, but I don't think Broxa is playing like super bad or anything. He's also, I mean, he's a jungle, so kind of hard to do much about jungle. So yeah.
Okay. About now the champions, what can you say about Pyke? Because in your team, it's quite a champ that we've seen like everywhere. Now played most by Mekix and pretty everywhere in the LEC too. Why do you think this champ is so good and so useful?
So I think Pyke is just a champion that's really strong at like skirmishes because it can never really die because it has stealth and jumps. And it's really good at cleaning up kills with like ult and like just catching people off guard. I think it's especially when we play against Fnatic, it's like very contested. They picked it last time, we picked it this time, because we like to fight both of us a lot. So it'll just be like one big skirmish, and both Hylsang and Miki both like Pyke a lot. So I think that in that matchup, it's like a very contested pick. But I think overall, I think Pyke is maybe not the strongest right now. But I just think the playstyles matching together just makes it so Pyke is pretty strong.
Okay, so Pyke is kind of a turnover in both of your team. Like if Ely picked Pyke, it might have changed everything.
I mean, I think for sure it's something that they were looking to pick. We picked it away in like 1-2, I think. But I think they would have went for it if we didn't. And I mean, if they got it, it would be like a different game. If we would win or not, that's like hard to say, right? But it would definitely be a different game.
Okay, I understand. About the picks proposed by the public, how do you choose to pick them or not? For example, the Garen yesterday. Do you pick the champs because it's fun, because you consider that the match is an easy one? Is there a reason, or it's just because you want to please the public?
I mean, so last week, basically, I mean, so how it started last week was like Tristana, right? And I play a lot of Tristana and solo queue, and I thought it was like a pretty good pick. And then we were talking like, do we want to play it or not? And we were like, okay, let's not play it. Let's like keep practicing it first. But then there was a guy with like a sign, and then I think Jankos hovered like Corgi, and everyone was like booing. So then we were like, okay, let's just go for Tristana. Like this guy like kind of convinced us in that sense. But then judging from like yesterday, there's a guy with like a Garen sign, and maybe we thought we were like better than we actually were because we thought like, oh, maybe we can pick Garen and still come out ahead. Especially now that Papa Smith was here and he has made this whole big deal that he really wants us to pick Garen. So we really want to pick it for him and hope that we could win with it, but we were not good enough. I think even though Garen didn't do that well, it was also like the rest of the map's kind of suffering. So I mean, I think we'll probably stick to our own picks from now. But maybe that'll be like a champion we're considering between two champions, and then we see a sign, and then we will go for that.
So you're really a team that is following the public. It's I think it's quite interesting and quite good because people are quite happy when you're doing it. Finally, is there some advice that you can give to people that want to improve mid lane?
I mean, so it's probably different from like different people. Like whether that you're like super, like you're like bronze or you're silver or you're
Say gold, for example.
okay. Let's say, I mean, even if you're gold, right? I think you're still not at like the top level of the game. So I think you just have to play a lot. I think watching pro players play or watching pro games and maybe like sticking to like very few champions. Like find that you can try out different champions, and when you find a champion that works for you, just stick with it. Watch how pro players play it, and then just keep spamming it until you get like high elo. And then once you get like, let's say, around diamond master, you can maybe look to either expand it or get a little bit more, learn a bit more complex tricks to the game. But once when you're gold, I think you can just play very basic and you will probably climb.
So it's not a problem to play like 3 or 4 champions, but all the time and just focus on them and be really good on them.
Yeah, I think for sure sticking to free champs. For example, right now even on my main, I'm playing like mostly Asia, and I'm climbing a lot with that. And just sticking to very few champs is like really good for climbing solo queue. It just, I mean, you're just in the zone of that champion, so you know when you're strong, you know when you're weak. You don't really have to think either, because you have memory of the last game. Oh, I'm strong when I get this item, or my laning phase is supposed to go like this, or my combo is like this. So.
Okay, perfect. I think you'll be helping a lot of people. Thank you, Caps. Thanks a lot.